Yes, the AFCON is going on. The African Cup of Nations is currently going on. I've been waiting for the AFCON. Finally for a few weeks, the AFCON. Has been going on, and I've been watching games, and I haven't been watching all the games, but I've been watching some games here and there in this African Cup of Nations. And since I'm half Nigerian, my father was from Nigeria, so I'm always rooting for the Nigerian Super Eagles. But hey, there's a lot of talented teams in Africa, and we've been seeing it in this current African Cup of Nations tournament. You know, a lot of the smaller teams are getting better. A lot of the smaller African teams are beginning to compete with the bigger African teams like Nigeria or Senegal, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria. The smaller African teams, are playing up to those big countries that I just named. That's why you see right now Morocco is eliminated from the tournament. Ghana has been eliminated from this African Cup of Nations. Senegal has been eliminated from this African Cup of Nations. So we already have seen a lot of the big African countries, soccer countries, have been eliminated from the tournament. And that's because these smaller African countries, like you see Cape Verde, Cape Verde just lost yesterday against South Africa, but, Cape Verde is considered to be a smaller African country in soccer. But they've been playing above expectations. Cape Verde has been playing above expectations. Cape Verde beat Ghana. No one expected Cape Verde, a small African country, to beat a big African heavyweight, Ghana. But they did. Cape Verde beat Ghana in this African Cup of Nations. Cape Verde also, they played a good game against Egypt. They drew against Egypt. Normally, you would think a big African country like Egypt would have an easy time beating a small African country like Cape Verde. But nah, these smaller African countries are getting better. You see DR Congo. DR Congo made it to the semifinals. Are making it to the semifinals in this African Cup of Nations. So DR Congo, that's considered a smaller soccer country in Africa, as far as football, These smaller African countries are becoming more skilled defensively, more, a lot of these smaller African countries, they know how to defend. And the smaller African countries, a lot of them, they play with a rhythm. A lot of the smaller African countries still have that traditional African rhythm of play. And that helps them out, In order for a team to be cohesive and play as a unit, they have to play in sync and in rhythm that the players are used to and comfortable, Every continent has their own style of play. European soccer is usually more what you would stereotypically call skilled, technical oriented. But African football is stereotypically more upbeat, fun, and more African football stereotypically is known to be more attack oriented over defense. But today in the modern era in African football, you see a lot of African teams are improving defensively. African defense is getting more advanced as far as like positioning and being more compact defensively, and the ability to get tackles and things of that sort. African football is improving on those aspects. So a lot of these smaller African countries are beginning to beat these bigger African countries, and we've seen in this African Cup of Nations. But I'm wondering, how's Nigeria gonna perform? Nigeria made it to semifinals, and Nigeria plays against South Africa. Is Nigeria gonna be able to beat South Africa? I don't know. Probably. Hey, but South Africa, they beat Morocco. Morocco has a good team. This Morocco team, I think, went to semifinals this past World Cup. No African team in history went as far as Morocco did in the World Cup tournament ever. Morocco played their hearts out in this last World Cup, and that's a great team. That's the same team that's playing in this African Cup of Nations for. And South Africa beat that very technically defensive Morocco team. So South Africa, no team to sleep on. So I'm hoping Nigeria is taking this upcoming game against South Africa extremely serious. Man, I have some tips for Nigeria. I'm Nigerian, so I'm rooting for the Nigerian Super Eagles. Man, I don't think Victor Osimhen should start as striker. I don't think Victor Osimhen should start as a front striker. Nah, man. Victor Osimhen, he's been the front striker since, for all games for this African Cup of Nations. And Victor Osimhen, he hasn't been making any goals, man. He has not been making any goals. Victor Osimhen scored one header in this whole African Cup of Nations. It's been like 4 games already, and Victor Osimhen has only scored one time out of 4 games. So it's so obvious that Victor Osimhen, he's struggling up front as our main striker. So, man, Victor Osimhen should either be started at a different position or he should be benched. There's other players who can be better at striking than Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen, he's not a clinical striker. He's not the most technically skilled striker. It's the way Victor Osimhen, he's not a strong striker as far as like kicking the ball. Victor Osimhen does not kick the ball strong. Victor Osimhen, he doesn't kick the ball with strong enough force. And whenever Victor Osimhen kicks the ball, he usually does the ground balls. And whenever Victor Osimhen does the ground balls to score, the ball just rolls so slowly on the ground, and the goalie just gets it so easily because Victor Osimhen doesn't kick with force. And another flaw with Victor Osimhen's kicking style is he's just inaccurate. There's been several times in this African Cup of Nations where Victor Osimhen had an easy open goal to score, and Victor Osimhen just inaccurately kicks it and misses the goal. He had 5 good opportunities, open goal, and Victor Osimhen, he just keeps missing it. He's just not an accurate goal scorer right now. I mean, he's in bad form. Victor Osimhen, he's in horrible form. He's played at so much of a higher level with the Super Eagles in the past, but I don't know why he's playing so horribly right now. And the player who's been scoring goals and saving the Nigerian Super Eagles has been Ademola Lookman. Lookman, he's scored 3 goals in this tournament. He scored the last 2 games. And he scored more goals in this tournament than Victor Osimhen. Lookman, he scored 3 goals this tournament, and this African Cup of Nations, Victor Osimhen had only scored 1 goal. And another thing with Victor Osimhen, he's always offsides. He's always fucking offsides. Victor Osimhen is always offsides. He's never onsides. And I've been peeping this. I've been knowing this about Victor Osimhen for the last few years that I've been watching him play for the Super Eagles. A lot of times, Victor Osimhen, he always lines up offsides, and he always receives the ball in the offsides position. These are some technical skills that you need to have as a striker. As a striker, you need to have the ability to kick the ball with force and with accurate force to score goals. And as a striker, you need to have the ability, the technical ability, the know-how to stay onside in an onside position to receive the ball and score. These are just some simple fundamentals you need as a striker that Victor Osimhen is currently struggling with. And, with Victor Osimhen, when Victor Osimhen gets the ball, in the tight spaces, in a penalty box, a lot of teams that have compact defense in the back, in the penalty box. So sometimes when Victor Osimhen gets that ball in the penalty box and he tries to dribble, he gets the ball intercepted by the compact defense because, Victor Osimhen, he always gets the ball taken away from him because, Victor Osimhen, he's not the best dribbler. To be a frontline striker, you have to have the ability to keep the ball possession, in tight spaces where multiple defenders are, So if you have 3 defenders around you in that penalty box, that backline defense, you have to have the ability to keep ball possession and dribble in order to keep the ball and score the ball. And Victor Osimhen, he doesn't have the ability to dribble in tight spaces. And he always gets the ball taken away from him, and in times where he should be able to just dribble and take a simple shot at goal. And Victor Osimhen, to me, Victor Osimhen, he'll be better suited as a midfielder. Victor Osimhen should be a midfielder. You'll get the best out of Victor Osimhen as a midfielder. Victor Osimhen, he's the type of player, he'll score more goals as an attacking midfielder than as playing as a front up striker. Victor Osimhen will score more goals, I'm telling you, as a midfielder, as opposed to being, the starting up front striker. Victor Osimhen, to get the best out of him, he has to have possession of the ball going up the field. When Victor Osimhen is in the middle of the field, that's when he operates the best, because with Victor Osimhen, he has a strong motor. He's a strong player, and he's fast. He's long, tall, fast, and he likes to run. So Victor Osimhen operates the best when he has the ball running up the field before the penalty box. Victor Osimhen has to get the ball before the penalty box, and he has to be running with the ball for some time to build up to score. Victor Osimhen is what I call he's a build-up striker. And what I mean by that is Victor Osimhen, he has to have the ball, possession of the ball for some time in order for him to get a rhythm to score. He has to build up a running rhythm, a motion rhythm, comfortability on the ball for a few seconds or a few moments in order for him to score. He's an attacking midfielder. Victor Osimhen is an attacking midfielder, and he can pass the ball decently. So Victor Osimhen, he should be in that midfield. He has long legs, he runs fast, and he can move the ball forward to push for an attack. And that gives him the comfortability to score. Victor Osimhen, he's not the type to just pass the ball to him in a tight space. And, first of all, his first touch he doesn't have a striker's first touch, So, yeah, striker, he's not that position. That's not his natural position. And we're seeing it in this AFCON Cup of Nations. But I believe, man, Nigeria takes this game seriously and are confident. Nigeria is the type of team, they're based on confidence. You see what Nigeria won a couple of games, the African Cup of Nations. They kept winning and winning and winning and winning because, Nigeria, they have the talent and they have the skill too. They just need, that level of confidence and belief in their ability. And, once a young African team has